All right, I hope I have some good news for you today. How to tackle flat surfaces, especially if there's like really scary stuff on it, but then also the biggest thing, how to prevent it from ever happening again. Well, it's really good to see you today. I was hoping that we could work together, especially if you have a flat surface in your house that consistently collects stuff. And so let's talk about like the steps we can take, especially when these start to feel really overwhelming, the steps we can take to systematically declutter it, and then how do we prevent it from happening again. There's a couple things that we can do that will really make a big difference. So like I said, I think it would be cool if we could work together today. None of us ever feel like tackling these types of spaces, I don't think. If you do, you're not watching this because yours is done and you don't need my help, right? So again, we've been talking a lot about body doubling lately, and all that means is that you're working alongside someone else, and the cool part is that you can do it virtually. So truly, you know, like a clean with me video, this can be a clear the crap off a flat surface video. So we can work through that together. And then also I want to circle back to our video from Tuesday where we talked about not having enough time. There were some good questions and comments about that I thought it'd be fun to circle back to. Okay, so what tactics can we use when we have a space like this and it feels completely overwhelming? There's two different tactics that I like to use. One is to set the timer for 5 minutes and just do whatever you can get done in 5 minutes. What you get done, it's done. So we're gonna talk about that. And then the other one is to group like stuff with like stuff. And so it kind of depends where you're at. If you are like totally overwhelmed by the space, just set the timer. Just set the timer, use the timer method, and it'll get you re-familiarized with everything that's here. If it's not quite so intimidating, let's talk about grouping like with like, because that's the approach that I'm gonna use here on this space today. Okay, so I wanna make sure we can see what it is that we're doing here. So here's what I mean. Well, so I can tell you a few things and how they ended up here. So this was a bin, I've mentioned, I feel like I've been talking about my birthday a lot. I'll stop talking about the birthday. But this was a bin of stuff that went to Diana's house for the party, and I just brought it home with me today from her house. And where does it get set? On the table, right inside the door, right? So that got set there, set there. Isn't this beautiful? I got this for my mom. I saw it at the store, at the home improvement store, and it was only $11. And I'm like, that is so beautiful for $11. So I got it for my mom. I need to get that there. Then we have, this is the best part right here. The pile of mail and receipts, things to fill out and return, all of that kind of stuff. So we'll go through that together. More stuff that just got set here. So now that I've hopefully convinced you that my clutter is all the same as yours, then I think we can get started with this method of grouping like with like. So the beauty of sorting like with like is that it's re-familiarizing myself with everything that's here. I have built this up to be super scary. Like everything on here is something that I don't want to do, something I forgot to do, forgot to return, forgot to whatever. And so it's very easy to make this project much bigger in my head than it actually is. And so that's why this process of sorting like with like is helping me to remember everything that's here. And I'm realizing that at least like 70% of it is just stuff that needs to get put away that already has a home. And we're gonna talk through like, what do we do with the stuff that doesn't have a home, and that's why it's finding itself here. But most of the stuff here, it actually has a home. Like it was just pure laziness that I got set here, right? And we'll talk about how to keep this from happening again. But let me show you the different categories that I'm coming up with here. And the doors those are still our closet doors that still need to go in. So this stuff over here is all stuff that just needs to get put away. So it just does not belong on the table, but it has a home, so it has somewhere to go. This stuff right here that you can't really see is just garbage. So I didn't bring a black trash bag over because the garbage can is like right there. So that'll be easy to throw away. This pile back here is returns. So again, when it's all mixed together, it's hard to tell like how much is stuff I actually have to do. And then this is the pile of just random receipts, cards, thank you notes I need to send, a survey I need to fill out and send back. So that's other stuff that I actually need to do. But I wanted to keep it separate from the returns because returns always stress me out because I'm just thinking of all the money I'm gonna waste if I like don't get it done. So those are my categories. And now what I can do, now that I have it divided out into these like 5 different groupings basically. Now I can just pick one to deal with. And so even like the returns felt kind of overwhelming when it was all bunched together, but when I see it as just the 2 or 3 returns that I have to do, that's not as big of a deal. Like I know I could go over to the computer, do the, you know, the labels and everything, and it won't actually take that much time. So already I'm feeling a lot better about this just from sorting it out. Like I haven't even had to make tough decisions yet, right? I'm literally just sorting it out. And today's video is sponsored by Helix. Shelly is a friend of Diana's who was helping us with our birthday party, and she came up to me and she was like, okay, I just want to ask you a question. I need a new mattress. I hear you talking about the Helix mattresses. Do you really recommend it? And yes, 1000%, we would recommend a Helix mattress to you. We have had ours for over 2 years now, and we sleep so well on it. I mean, we go to hotels, we go to Airbnbs, nothing compares to coming back home to our Helix mattress. We are so grateful for that. I mean, especially, you know, once you turn 40, my goodness, you gotta get a good night's sleep, and you have to have a good mattress, or you just wake up crabby in the morning, right? She said the same thing too that we've been experiencing. She's like, I wake up and my back is sore. And it's sometimes easy to think like, oh, that's just old age. No, actually, you shouldn't wake up with a sore back in the morning. It might be your mattress, and it might be time for you to invest in yourself and get a really good night's sleep as well. And so we love that your Helix mattress comes with a 100-night sleep guarantee. And that's the other reason I could recommend it confidently to Shelly, because she can take it home and try it out for 3 months, right? So she can sleep on it, see how she feels when she wakes up in the morning. And I also know that it's gonna be really easy for her to set up. And so what's so great is that you go online, you take your sleep quiz, it's very easy. Put in like what position do you usually sleep in? Do you like your mattress to be soft, a little bit firmer? And so you go through the sleep quiz, it'll make the recommendation for you, and then you order it, and then it shows up to your house all rolled up in a box. I know it seems strange, but it's a very convenient and very easy then to get into your bedroom, to unroll it, to let it take shape, and then to just get to sleep on it and try it out. And then beyond that, you also get a 10-year warranty. It's made in the US, and shipping is included with the price of the mattress here in the US as well. They also have some flexible payment options too. And so yes, if you have been thinking about it, we would 100% recommend it to you as well. So we have a link down below where you can save up to $200 off your Helix mattress and get 2 free pillows too. I kind of want to go take a nap now, but we won't. Let's get back to work. Okay, so then like I said, step 2 now is to pick a category or a pile and just deal with that one. So obviously the easiest one is just to deal with the trash, right? So I'm gonna throw that away real quick. And then the next easiest is to deal with the stuff that just needs to get put away. So like this, I want to bring this over to my mom's when we go over there a little bit later today. So I'm gonna go put this by the door so that it goes over to her house with me. Side note, this avocado tomatillo salsa from Aldi is super good. Even on like pulled pork or like shredded chicken stuff, enchiladas, tacos, highly recommend it. Also, my favorite soda water right now is this key lime, super good. So if you're looking for any recommendations. Okay, so I have this almost done. Now, this is why I actually don't keep like containers like this in my house. This was in the closet before. I need to just donate this because they always fill up with stuff. So I don't even want this container around anymore. Now let's talk about stuff if we're like, the stuff is here because I don't know what to do with it. Like I got this big thing of peanuts. We like to in the fall, if you mix peanuts and candy corn, like it's fantastic. It tastes like a salted nut roll. We got it for our birthday party and now we didn't use them all. And so I have a little left in here which I can combine. And then I have this big thing of nuts, but I don't normally keep a big thing of nuts, right? And so that's sometimes why this stuff floats on here. And so I have to ask myself like, okay, do I want to create a space for this? Are we going to use it? Or should I like bring it over to my parents' house with the plant? Because otherwise it's probably just gonna sit in the pantry and like never actually get used. So I'm actually gonna bring this to my parents because I think my mom will make like the candy corn and that mixture again. And so I just anticipate this getting pushed to the back of the pantry cabinet and just getting completely forgotten about. And so that's why I just wanna pass it on, let somebody make use of it and me not have to manage it. So we're constantly having to ask ourselves like, okay, is stuff piling up on the flat surface because it doesn't have a permanent home? Like everything has to have a home, right? And then is it worth making a home for? Do I want to continue to manage this and store this? So like I said, For me, the peanuts are not worth it. So I hope my parents can make use of them. Okay, so now we're down to technically 3 piles. Tom has one back here, but I'm just gonna leave that for now. This still kind of doubles as his office sometimes. This is the pile of, I don't wanna deal with stuff, and then the returns. But already, I mean, this table is looking so much better. And so I could stop here. Like, I could be like, you know what? It is like way better. I'm not really in the groove to like keep going. I'm gonna stop there, but now it would be very easy to come back later or tomorrow and tackle another one. Or I could say, this pile sucks. Like, I'm really not looking forward to it, but I could set the timer for 5 minutes and just spend a few minutes on it. Again, mostly refamiliarizing myself, because these things get built up in our head to be much scarier than they actually are. So why don't we sit down and visit a little bit more while I go through the pile, and hopefully you can keep working on your piles as well. So this top thing here is actually kind of cool. When Diana and I were in 5th grade, we started participating in the University of Minnesota's twin study. And it's the largest study that's ever been done on identical and fraternal twins. And so, I don't know, every few years we would go up to the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, and they would do testing. We'd answer questions and do surveys. They would like do like brain stuff and show us pictures and see our brain waves and all that. And so it was always kind of cool, but the project is actually ending now. So that was 5th grade. So we were what? I don't even know what age you are. And now we just turned 40. So it's gone on for many years, and we know other twins that have participated in it. So this is the final survey that they're sending us. We just have to mail it back. So I want to do that. So I am going to do that. This is just like the birthday card my mom made me, which is so pretty. And so that just needs to go into my memory box. So that's actually not even hard. I don't know why these are here, right? And so again, I've built this up into my head to be like, oh, it's so intimidating. A lot of receipts that just need to go into the receipts folder. So again, hey, jackpot, right? I don't even know what that's from. Okay. So isn't it funny how we build this stuff up in our heads, and we're like, it's gonna be like take so long, and like, don't get me wrong, sometimes it does, like it does, but if we can at least get the receipts out and the garbage out and the money out or whatever, and just get it simplified down to the stuff we actually have to do, there's not as much to do here as we're usually thinking. And I also don't want to forget to mention 2 pieces of the paper clutter puzzle. So if you have paper clutter, remember we want to have a paper time will tell bin. So this I put in catalogs, coupons, stuff. I'm just not sure. It's more like reference stuff. I don't know if I'm going to look at that recipe that I cut out of the magazine or order from that catalog. So I can put it in here because it's not a to-do item. It's just I'm gonna time test it to see if I reach for it or if I need it again. And then for the stuff that we need to do, like I said, I want to fill out this survey and send it back. This needs to get added to my to-do list. If I just leave it piled up, or if I'll put it, I have a spot for to-dos in my paper system, like I can link to that. But if it just goes in there and I don't actually add it to my to-do list, I will forget about it. So by adding it to my to-do list or my task list, that's signifying this actually takes time, and I need to find a time during this week to do it. So leaving it piled up on the table is not a form of remembering to do it, right? So often we have these piles on the counter or the table, and we're like, I have to leave it there, I'll forget, right? That's not actually a good system, because as soon as one thing gets put on top of it, it's gone. The visual reminder is gone. So it's much better to add it to our task list if it's an actual to-do. I wanted to circle back to our video on Tuesday too. It was about not having enough time for all of this stuff, because I really appreciated your kind comments on it. Many had said like, wow, this like really hit home, this whole idea of like how we just don't have enough time for all of the things that we have acquired. And my friend Cindy, she was the one who did the technical writing for our workbook. She was like, where do you come up with these, ideas sometimes? And she had said it like really connected with her as well. Ooh, this one has a rebate on it. Can we still send that in? Yes, okay. I'm gonna put that on Tom's pile. These are the things you forget about, right? And then you feel really bad. And so that idea, the idea of just not having enough time for stuff actually came to me because of our birthday, and just realized like, wow, okay, we're turning 40 and time goes so fast. And I had been talking with the kids too. They had been saying that time goes fast, and I'm like, oh, you guys, like, you have no idea, right? And then I'm thinking, like, knowing those of you who have celebrated 50 and 60 and 70 years, how, you know, what do you say? The time just keeps going faster and faster. And then realizing that tomorrow will be October, and where did September go? And so it's just been, I think anytime we have these like benchmarks in our life, it's just like, wow, time goes so fast. And so that had just been top of mind for me a lot recently. And if you subscribe to our email list, then there was an email that went out about it. So I had been thinking about it quite a bit. But I think, you know, we've been, you know, we've called ourselves minimalist for, Gage will turn 8 in October. And so I usually gauge it kind of by his birthday. I mean, for 8 years now. And so I think I have a lot more confidence now. That kind of what started out as theory in the beginning of like, okay, I'm testing out minimalism, right? I mean, that now I have a lot more confidence in it as the kids celebrate more birthdays and I celebrate more birthdays, and we've been doing it for longer and longer. Then I'm just like, wow, I don't miss any of this stuff. I love the freedom, like I talked about in that video, that Tom's family could drop in and it wasn't that big of a deal. And it just, it feels like the benefits just so far outweigh anything that I might have accidentally gotten rid of or decluttered or had to repurchase, which again, as you know, as you hear me talk about all the time, is like so few and far between, right? It's just so few things that I ever have to, you know, repurchase or anything like that. And so I think as each year goes on now, I just grow in confidence to be like, no, like I can tell you so confidently that you can declutter that stuff you're not using because you're not gonna miss it. And as I look at my own home and life now, I just feel like, wow, the things, like the only things I want to maintain and keep in my house are the things I use every single day, like that we're for sure using every day, and the rest of the stuff is just like, I've just been able to get rid of it and not miss it at all. And so I think that was part of it too, just like the milestone of the birthday, heading into fall and being like, oh my goodness, fall's already here, just kind of has cemented for me, like we just don't have enough time for all of this stuff. And so it was fun to hear that it resonated with many of you. I saw there was like one comment too of a gal who was like, well, I do sit by the pool and read while the kids are playing in there because they're old enough now. And I do the hobbies and everything. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like if you're doing it, like, of course, like do that, like keep the stuff you're using, you know, but I would put that stuff, if there was a craft or hobby I was doing all the time, well, I would put that stuff in the category of stuff I use like all the time, right? So I think I've just been feeling like, oh, wow, like we just never end up missing any of this stuff. It's also been a pretty busy fall. Diane and I are still working on that devotional, which it just always takes longer than you think it's gonna. And then we're also working too on 5 days to an organized Christmas. We're calling it a workshop. We're just gonna spend 5 days together the second week in October, or third week, October 17th, it'll kick off. And so I'll put details down below, don't worry. We'll make sure that you know about it. We'll talk about it more too. But like, I always feel like it's too early to start talking about Christmas, but yet if we don't start talking and planning about it early, then that's when it sneaks up on us. And we spend too much money, we blow our budget, we don't get the things we want, it feels meaningless. And so that's where we're like, you know, if we could just spend a few days together and do some guided activities that will help us go into Christmas feeling prepared, I think it could completely change like how enjoyable our holiday is this year. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that with her. I think it's gonna be fun. I think we're gonna have fun together, and I think we're also gonna get to work through some stuff ahead of time that's going to make it a more enjoyable season. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. So that's kind of been what we've been up to, you know, with, you know, homeschool thrown in on top of it too. I know you all want me to do a homeschooling video. I just like, I don't know. I grow in confidence each year, but then they all get older and things change too. So it's like some things were carrying over from last year that worked, and others were just like having to totally reinvent and stuff. And so I probably feel even less qualified this year than last year to talk about it. But mostly, I mean, the co-ops that our kids are in dictate a lot of like the curriculums and classes that they do. So I think too, I don't actually feel like I have to pick that much curriculum or that kind of stuff. So there's that as well. So I don't know. One of these days I'll actually do an actual video on it. So, but it's going good. I feel like we're finally starting to get into a groove for this year too, which is good. So, anyways. Okay, so one more thing that I did want to talk about though is how do we prevent this from happening, right? Because flat surfaces will always collect more stuff. So number one, this doesn't intimidate me like it used to in the past. I know I can deal with this stuff. I have the skills. I look at stuff differently. I mean, my goal basically is to not keep anything if I don't have to, right? And so it doesn't intimidate me as much as it used to. The second thing is that this is a daily habit. So I always look at two things when something feels out of control in our house. I look at the inventory and the habit. So we do whatever we can to reduce the inventory so there's less to manage. And then it just comes down to habit. It's kind of like doing the dishes, right? Like I can reduce my dishes, but at some point I do have to actually wash them every day too, right? So this requires a constant pick up or tidy up. So it's the inventory and then the habit. And then the third thing, I try to reduce flat surfaces in my house. So I know people think it's weird. We don't have nightstands and end tables and side tables and bookcases and all of that kind of stuff. It is all flat surfaces that collect stuff. So I actually try to minimize the flat surfaces in our house. It's easy for us because we have a small house. I know if you have like a larger house, you're like, well, that just looks weird if we don't have furniture in it, right? But whenever possible, I try to reduce the flat surfaces. I know like Dana from My Sob Comes Clean, she said she used to have like a chair, like an armchair in the corner of her bedroom. And the only purpose it served was for clothing to get tossed on top of it, right? So she just removed the chair, right? And so it's looking around, I was like, is there any like extra flat surfaces that we have that we could just get rid of? Sometimes that really makes a big difference as well. But mostly it's just a habit and getting in the habit of it. But the cooling out habits, it's so hard at first to develop them. Like it kind of sucks. Like Cass will set reminders in her phone until the habit is created. But once it's in place, it is like second nature then just to like grab the stuff off of here, clear it off quick and all of that. So this doesn't happen frequently anymore. And when it does, I'm like, okay, not a big deal. I mean, even this, like I got the receipts sorted out here. Here's a couple things that I want to mail. And then this needs to go in the kids' homeschool stuff. And like pretty much it's not too big of a deal. I got this at Walmart. I think I'm gonna return it, but it was kind of an impulse buy. I thought it was so cute. I thought I might put it in the camper, but there's not actually a spot. And like, maybe I'll find a spot in our house. It's not quite the right size. So I just need to return it, but it was kind of an impulse buy. And so now I'm like, okay, I think I'll just add it to my pile of returns over there. And then this just needs to get put away too. So again, even this wasn't as intimidating as I was expecting it to be. So I always look at the inventory and then the habit that goes along with it. I also got this pumpkin at Aldi. Isn't it so pretty? I saw it one time and I didn't get it. I didn't impulse buy it. And then I saw it again and I'm like, it just really makes my heart happy. So I went back and got it. But other than this, I probably won't get any other new fall decor this year. I'll just use stuff that I have. So I just thought it was really pretty though. All right, well, it was nice to get to visit with you today and I hope you got some work done too while we were visiting. I want to encourage you too. I think you're starting to look at stuff differently, especially if we've spent any amount of time together. So again, I hope spaces that might have intimidated you or overwhelmed you in the past, I hope you're starting to feel like you have the skills and just a different way of looking at stuff that makes it easier to get through. Like really my goal when I look at places like this now is like, I don't want to keep any of it. I don't want to have to manage any of that stuff, right? So anything I can possibly get rid of, like I am going to get rid of, right? And that just going in with that mindset, that makes it easier as well. So I love you. I'd love to know what you're up to this weekend. I don't even know what first weekend in fall. I think my flowers are dying now. We're starting to get some frost at night. So it's kind of sad that we're gonna have to probably dump the flower pots and pull out the garden and all of that. So I'll probably try to spend some time outside, which will be nice, but I can't think about winter yet. So, all right, well, I love you. I hope you have a really great weekend and I'll see you again soon.